Hello, my name is Jonathan Chandler. We're coming to you from the Virginia School of Traditional Arts. This is our entry for the railroad spike, toilet paper railroad spike apocalyptic challenge. I can't hardly say that word. But this is a Native American rifle stock war club. You can see this kind of thing in the movie Last of the Mohicans. And ours has a few decorative tacks. Our spike is made out of, our spear point here is made out of a railroad spike. We have a woven leather strap on it with a few wooden beads on here. I hope y'all enjoy watching us make this. It was a fun project. It was an interesting idea. I thought I would give it a whirl. This has actually been a project that I've been wanting to make for right many years. I just didn't have an excuse to do it. So I'm glad the gentleman that come up with this idea gave us this idea and to keep us busy during the coronavirus. I would like all of y'all to be safe and to wear your mask. If you're interested in making masks, I've been doing that pretty quickly as fast as I could the last few days, and I'll show you a video up here of how we do that. And the types of masks that I make have zero waste, and so you can make lots of them with just a little bit of cloth, a little bit of fabric. And so, like I say, if you're interested in that, check out that video. We've got lots of other videos on forging and knife making and different things, and so enjoy the video. I just so happen to have about a 1830s, 40s Kentucky rifle. And that's basically what they were mimicking with the war club. And anyhow, we're going to trace it out on a little piece of plywood here, and we're going to make us a war club. We railroad spike, and we're going to make this into the blade part of this war club. So we're just going to use the rifle for our template, more or less. It may be a little thicker than the rifle, but we'll let you come along with that. It sounds like a fun thing to give a whirl. Well, basically all I'm going to do with this rifle is make a pattern. And I'm thinking I don't need the whole rifle. I think I need about, I don't know, 36 inches, something like that. On a rifle, the part that'll break is right through the wrist here. In fact, this one has been broken and I have fixed it back. A gentleman from Georgia brought me this rifle to fix for me. Alright, let's see if y'all can see that. Not sure if I like that little divot in there. That's where the wrist of the gun was, but I don't know if I like that or not. But we feel pretty good down here. Just a little fatter than I think we need up here, but we'll make look at that once we get the real gun, the real stock out of this piece of oak. A piece of oak has very many checks in it, and that's why I'm using it for this. This would have been a really nice piece of furniture grade oak, but it's got checks in it. So we're going to see if we can get it down to, it's plenty thick, so we make sure we get some of those chips out of it. So all I'm going to do is lay it up here, see if we can get enough. And I'm running out of, that's why I did that pattern. I'm running out of board over here on this side, so we're going to have to tilt it a little bit, I have a feeling. We want to leave as long a grain in as we can, and as few a checks as we can, but we'll have to do something like that to make this pattern work. Alright, we've got our piece roughed out. It's got some pretty good checks in it. They don't go all the way through, so we're going to just work it down on the sides. Now we've got our profile more or less there. It's not perfect, but it's more or less there. I did, if we hold our pattern back up here, I did decide to keep the grain, lay this up against the outside edge, and what I did is I traced it up to here and then just slid the gun stock down and traced the back portion of it to keep it on our board more. It was a little long through here looking anyway, so I just modified our pattern there, and I think this is giving us more what they look like. A little shorter than the actual rifle, of course. We're going to work on getting rid of some of these checks, and then we'll start shaping this up, and we'll fix our railroad spike. Here it is. We're going to make our railroad spike look like a hope, like a big arrowhead. Liking what I got, so I don't want to go too much too fast. Get off right much like that. Alright. This is dry. It is. Alright. I think that's what we're going to do with that. Now we'll shave it more, so we have to break it out and see how much this is. Stuff on that tape. Alright, let's see what we can get in here. Alright, so there's your profile. A little crooked right in here. We need to work on that smidge. That was where I was trying to get rid of that. Get rid of that check. It got a little thin, but that's alright. We'll just whittle her down. And that's the bulk of it right now. I'm going to take it over on my sander and flatten it a little bit. And we just knocked off the big edges with the draw knife. You could keep going with that, but this is a play toy. We're just not going to put too many hours into this. I think it's going to be several anyway. But we're just going to knock it off with knock off the high spots with the sander and clean her up just a little bit. But that's the bulk of it with the draw knife. Our glue's not dry, but we're going to trace our stock on our table here so we can give us some kind of idea of what size and shape arrowhead, spearhead looking thing do we need. And our stock is still a little big, and so our arrowhead will still be a little big. We'll forge it big and grind it down to exactly what we want. Let's do this back nice for the moment. Yeah, y'all can see that. And so right here we want the arrowhead or the spearhead. And I'm thinking of a kind of a long, wide one. thinking. Something to that effect. And I want it to look like it's made out of a rock. Even though it's going to be steel, we're going to hopefully forge it so it's got some little facets in it. We'll leave the hammer marks in it if we can. And so we'll look like it's been chipped out of a rock. Is my goal. Now whether it'll be that way or not, I don't know, but we'll give it a shot. Get y'all a little closer so you can see my picture. Alright, so that's the idea. Roughly that size, maybe slightly smaller, but roughly that size. And like I say, we're going to try to forge it so it looks like it's a rock or been chipped out of a stone. And it's going to have a tang in it like a knife is the way I'm figuring on making this thing. And so a tang on it. Probably not all the way through. And we're going to put some pins in it and hold it together like a knife would be held in there, like a hidden tang knife. So that's the plan at the moment. Alright, that's kind of what we got so far. I got way too much metal down here. It's almost the size I wanted it. I could have had a little fatter this direction, but it's getting thin as I would like it to be, so I think I'm going to let it cool off, and I'm going to cut the head off of that spike and draw out a tang on it, and clean it up a little bit, flatten it out. And my tip's a little thick. That's the way I generally make a leaf, is the tip's always a little thick, so we're going to grind that off, of course, make it look more like a spearhead. I probably could have forged down the tip slightly more than I did, but it's pretty close, and we'll clean it up a little bit and maybe work on some texture. Once we get our tang drawn out, we can work on some texture, see what we can do with that. Alright, that's kind of comparing it to our pattern that we had. As you can see, it's not quite as wide as I drew it, but it's a bit as long, probably a little longer. Alright, I reckon that's as straight as I'm going to get it. straight enough. And of course we're going to cut it off and grind it up a little bit. Make sure our tang is tapered correctly. It looks pretty good. We'll measure it, make sure. And we'll see about doing something, maybe a little scallop edge or something with the grinder. See what we can do with that. And sharpen her up and drill some holes and tang in our stock. Alright, that's our rough sanding done, looks like. Let y'all look at that good. Still got a check here, but we did put a peg in it, so we're good to go. This is a war club, so I don't know if we're going to get it but so smooth, but we're going to go and do some finish sanding on it once we get our hole figured out for our railroad spike spearhead there. And since we've got this nice fine sawdust here, we may save some of that and fill in a few of those cracks with that too. But I don't think the crack's gonna hurt anything. That thing's solid and feeling pretty good right about now. That thing would whoop the fool out of somebody if it got to hold of them. But it's got some hand sanding left to do on it, but pretty much a gun stock shape. Alright, I just leveled up the bottoms of both sides, like try to keep it parallel with the floor. I think it's going to do us the best, and that way we can drill straight down. I've measured this, and this is slightly larger than the bottom, but definitely smaller than the top, so it's at a taper. And so I'm going to drill down maybe halfway, maybe just slightly more than halfway, about like that, and try to taper my drill bit as I'm drilling towards the middle, so this thing will fall down in there. And the last half an inch or so, we'll heat this up and jam her down in there hard so it'll seat correctly. That's the plan anyway. And all I did was drill the hole on this side at an angle down to the middle and drill a hole on that side, and then came back with a low angle like that and drilled a hole in and picked up. That's what broke my drill bit initially. But what we were doing next really didn't have to have a sharp drill bit. We were working on the flutes of the drill bit, so I just went ahead and kept on going with it. And now we've got a starter hole for our burn in, and I'm gonna check it and see if we're pretty close, and we'll fire up and get y'all to see how to do a burn in. Smoky smoke. Alright, I think that's getting us pretty close. I'll do the rest of it with just a little bit of cleanup. We'll let that cool off and Clean it up a little bit and we'll see if it'll fit. Alright, so just pinned it. I didn't film that. I hate filming me gluing stuff. I usually screw it up. But we made up some epoxy. Got all our stuff ready. I had it in a clamp like this when I drilled it. When I popped the pins back out, of course it relaxed a little bit, and I was struggling getting the pins back in it. And I do all this prior to gluing it up, prior to mixing your glue up. And so what I used was a little scratch-all here. This I made on the lathe, well, the handle I made on the lathe. And it had a little better finish on it before I put the acetone on it to get the glue off of it. But I stuck this down the top hole. It's real narrow. And stuck it down in there as far as I could get it. And then I started, and I pointed my ends of my, I don't know if you can see it right here or not, but these are pointy, not like a needle, not like this, but rounded like a 22 bullet. And so I stuck this down the top hole. It came from the other side too. Stuck this down the top hole, got it down as far as I could, made sure I was locked onto my hole. And then I took this one and just tapped it, once I got the glue going, of course, just tapped it in. And then I took this one out and drove in the top one. So you got to have something to line up those holes if you've got tension on it, which I did on this. I had tension squeezing it this way when we drilled the holes. And apparently more tension than I realized, because I thought it would just push back and forth. But anyhow, we're at this point. We're going to set it up for an hour or so, maybe 2 hours, and then we'll come back and cut these off. Sand this little bit, this little area here where the glue may have been, and then we're going to hit it with the torch. Just cut these off. Do it without dropping it. Get them down as close as we can. Alright, that's as good as I'm going to get them right now with this, I think. Alright, we just filed them down just a little bit, get them closer. We'll go hit them with the sander, and then we're going to do some burning. Alright, there we go. Got our pins sanded down pretty smooth, and we're going to call that close enough. Now what we're going to do is we're going to torch this old bad boy a little bit here. Let's see if we can get you in the camera here. That's there. that's what we got for the moment. We got a few dark and light spots. I'm gonna try to darken it up to be all the same color, more or less. Then I may touch it with the sandpaper and hopefully we can leave some of the dark grain, but that's kind of what we're looking at. See if I can get y'all a good look at it right now. Here's one end of it, down to the other end. I like that. Pre-stain conditioner on this. All this is supposed to even out your grain. Use this a lot on softwood, pine, and poplar and such, but I generally put it on everything just because I like it. It seems to does work a little bit. But it doesn't last forever, so you got to go ahead and put it on and then go ahead and stain. It won't stay overnight or anything, just an hour or so. And this stain is called Early American. It's by Minwax. I assume they still make it. This can's probably 10 years old at least. But I thought that was an appropriate stain for a Native American war club. Early American sounds good. And whenever you're staining something, long, even strokes as you can. Make sure you get your end grain good. That's what that pre-stain conditioner does. Makes your end grain look great. This is oak and it is bone dry. That's a little better. A little better. Alright, there's our war club. At this point, it's been flamed, it's been touched up sanding, it's been stained, and we're going to put some beeswax and walnut oil on it. Let that dry a minute. And I'll seal it up a little bit. We're still working on our war club. I'm going to get a couple of little strings here that I got cut. We're going to weave us a braided carry strap for it, like a rifle strap. So we got here all of our strings. We're going to flatten them out best we can. And I'm going to treat these 6 strings as if they were 3 strings. We'll see how that works. So I'm basically going to do over to the middle, 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 to the middle, to the middle. Alright, here's our strap made. And that's about the right distance if I had to guess. Distance. I'm using my circle a little bit. Alright, I'm finding the last hole. Alright, that's all the tacks in it. And a few beads we're going to put on. Alright, we've got our war club complete. I hope y'all have enjoyed the video. Be safe with the coronavirus. Check out our other videos on knife making and cooking over the campfire and all kind of different things. If you've liked this video, please like and subscribe. And you hit the bell button. We're going to do lots more videos as we can. So this is our wool club. And y'all have a good day. Thank you so much.